Welcome to Everyday Reviews. Today we're talking about dash cameras, and we're talking Vantrue dash cameras. The folks over there have been extremely busy introducing all new models of dash cameras. These things are indispensable nowadays. I really don't know why cars just don't come with them, but unfortunately not all cars come with them. So you can buy your own, and they are very inexpensive now with a lot of features. So lots of new dash cameras. They've introduced a new line called the Element series. So they have the E1, the E2, and E3, and those numbers correspond with how many channels those cameras have. So 1, 2, and we are looking at the E3, which is their most feature-rich 3-channel system. All right, let's check out what's inside the box. Obviously, you get the main camera. It's a rectangle looking camera. So this camera has 2 cameras in it. You have the front camera and you have the in-cabin camera. It's all put together. What I like, that front camera, you can actually swivel that lens. Plus, you can get an optional circular polarizer, and that is a really, really handy thing, especially when you're shooting outdoor things, bright light with glares, so you can actually reduce the amount of glare, even maybe with the angle of your windshield. That is an option. I really wish that they would just include that, because there really is no disadvantage to that. It might rob a little bit of light there. The camera is magnetically attached to the mount, which we'll talk about in a second. Then you get the power cord, which is a USB-C on one end, and then your cigarette lighter, your 12-volt adapter on the other end. One thing I'm a fan of what Vantrue does is they give you an extra USB Type A in the end of that 12 volts. So you get a bonus additional outlet there. You get some other goodies like additional 3M adhesives. The trim tool, this little plastic thing makes all the difference in the world when we are installing around our molding. They also give you a couple plastic adhesive squares where you can put that onto the windshield first and then attach your dash camera to that. And what that's for is it makes it easy if you want to move your dash cam from different positions. It's easier to do that on that square there. So let's get it installed. First thing you want to do is you want to find the proper place where you want to place your camera. Now on this one, I've actually just placed it right in the center, because with that in-cabin camera, you kind of want to have kind of a good view of the entire cabin. If it's over to the right, you might miss some people in the back a little bit. So I just thought that the center is a really good spot. You know, it all depends on your vehicle. I have this big, large block here where the rear view mirror is attached to, and there's a lot of electronics back there and additional cameras for the adaptive cruise controls and things like that that this Ioniq 5 has. So once you get your location put down, you can put that other additional piece of clear plastic down or not. We place that there. We're going to run our power cable, and we're going to run it through the molding using that tool. It's really handy. They can go down the A-pillar. You can just kind of just gently pull, and you can just tuck that wire in, and then you're going to run it into your 12 volt. Now you can also get a hardwire kit for this this system here, and that's really good for the parking mode, which we'll talk about in a second. Or another option is to use a dash camera battery, and that's what I am using right now. Is dash camera battery. I have it set in the glove compartment. It fits perfect, and yeah, so it's the same thing as kind of hardwiring it, except there's no hardwiring. It's an external battery. I'll leave a link below if you're interested in a dash cam battery, but the hardwiring kit is extremely affordable. It's pretty cheap. So I have that hooked to the dash camera battery, and then the unit itself is plugged into the battery itself. For the rear camera, you do have to plug it into the unit itself, the main camera unit, and you're going to run the same area. Instead of going down the A-pillar for me, I ran it across all the way to the back. Just basically, you just pry underneath this molding. It's just rubber too. There's rubber here. You can go right in between this rubber. You can see here. And you can run it all the way to the back, and then place your rear camera, place it in a good spot, and you can swivel it. And the nice thing, what I do is, on this vehicle, it's not as, a really large vehicle, so you'll end up probably having a lot of excess wire. So what do? Well, in that C-pillar in the back there, what I do is I just keep on pushing it into the trim. It just goes into that panel there until I don't have much slack left, and that's it. It just gets hidden back there. All right, we're all wired up. Now, one other thing that I love about Vantrue cameras and other camera systems like this is that they have their power cord connected not to the camera, but to the mount itself, okay? And the advantage of that is that if you want to take your camera off, for instance, if you want to take it off to download footage, or you want to use it in another vehicle to move vehicles, I do that quite often. I just get an additional mount and put it in another car. If my car's in the garage, I really don't need the dash camera on, and I might use it for another car. I can just slip it off and then just click it on to the mount in the other vehicle, and it's going to power on. A lot of other dash cameras, you actually power straight to the camera, so you have to unplug wires. So it's just a lot easier. However, on this 3-channel camera though, the 3rd channel, the back camera does plug in to the camera in this case. So what you do is you would just pull it off, just like so, unplug, that's it, okay? There is the camera. It's going to power off now after it's saved its file. And there it is. It's that easy. When I want to put it back on, I'm just going to plug that back into the top of the camera. And when I power it, slide it in, it's a magnetic mount. It's going to get power. There it goes. And on it comes. That easy. So if you only have the E1 or E2 without that 3rd channel, there is nothing attached to the camera at all. You just slide it on or slide it off. So let's take a closer look at this camera. I'm not going to go in too much depth because there's so much going on here. You want to know every little bit of the nitty-gritties of this camera, go to the Vantrue site. This is not an instructional video, but yeah. So on the side, we have our SD card slot. It takes up to a 512 gig card. Make sure to use the proper card, what they recommend for the proper speed. Otherwise, you will probably get errors and you're not going to be happy. So either use their recommended cards or buy one of theirs because they are tested to their specifications for this camera. Beside here, there is a red button. That is to lock an event. If there is a photo or a video that you want to locked in, because remember, this will do a loop recording, like whatever time loop that you specify, and it will overwrite those when that card gets full. If you want to lock that event so it can't get overwritten, hit that button there. All right, so down below, this is not a touchscreen. This is a 2.45-inch color display. There's 4 buttons down below that's going to operate everything. So we hit the bottom there, it starts recording. You can see it blink red. We have the green light there. This here, if you want to lock a video, something happens, you just hit that button, you'll see, boom. It actually locked it, took a picture as well. So bottom, first button there, corresponding with the picture, is to start and stop your camera. Next, you can cycle through the 3 different cameras. You can see here, all right, cycle through. Also, this is equipped with voice control as well. So I can say something like, show front camera. Show front camera. There we go. Show rear camera. And it's doing it by itself just from my voice. It also works in Russian, Japanese, and Chinese voice controls. And there's a whole bunch of different commands. You can go through the menu and see what you can control there. Next button over. This is to activate our parking mode and also for our audio recording. Right now, we have just muted it, so it is not recording audio. Once we hit that again, it's going to turn the audio back on. If we hit and hold this, it's going to go into parking mode. That's going to tell us it's going to go into parking mode there. All right. Or else, if you have parking mode set also, it's going to, if it doesn't detect any movement, it's going to put itself in parking mode as long as you do have this thing powered, whether through a hardwire kit or through a dash cam battery. All right, next one over here. This is our menu. Okay, we are recording, so we have to stop recording first in order to use the menu button. Okay, now we can hit menu. We have record setup, we have our files, so let's just say files here. Hit OK. Event video, these are those saved ones I was telling you about. So if there was a saved video, we'd hit that, and now we hit play, and you can see that it is just going to play. Remember, this is a 3-channel camera, so it is recording 3 different angles. Right, there's us talking when we hit the event there, and there is the front camera. Once again, we're just going to brush through this. Okay, there's our normal video. These are all the videos that is taken. Now, we have it set as a 3-minute loop. However, some of these might be shorter because if it detects, I have it set for motion detection right now in parking mode. So if it detects someone walking close to the car, it's going to start recording, but it's only going to record like a 30-second recording, quite short. Okay, this one's over 2 minutes, so this one's a full recording there. All right, so we go back. Okay, next thing we go over. Let's go to record setup quickly. Resolution, straightforward, but we can change the resolution of everything. If we want the maximum resolution, we get 1944p by 1080 by 1080 and 30 frames per second. Hit OK. All right, we can change all that individually. Loop recording, we have it set for 3 minutes. IR, the LED, all right. For the in-cabin camera, we have it set to auto. G sensor is for if you have parking mode and you have an impact, how sensitive you're going to be. Audio recording is on. We already talked about that. Exposure, this is cool. All right, so you get front cabin and rear where you can set your exposure. And a lot of dash cameras, you can't set your exposure. And if you can, it's a global exposure. So it sets all 3 cameras. This one here, for instance, for the rear, I have it set to 0.3, plus 0.3, because a lot of times rear glass is tinted. So this is really nice. It compensates for that, and it increases the exposure a little bit for you, so you get a better picture. All right, cycling back through. The record status light, this one right there, we can turn that on or off. Maybe you want to be in stealth or discrete mode and not have any lights on this at all while it's recording. You can do that. Wide dynamic range, I have it on, especially good for real high contrast situations. Rear high dynamic range, I have that on too. I want the best picture as possible off of there. Rotate display if you want to rotate it. Cabin mirror, rear mirror if we want to show that on there. Okay, number plate if you want to put your license plate in there, and also stamp. If you want to stamp all that information in your recording, you can do that as well. Time lapse, if you want to record a whole long video of you driving through the Grand Canyon, and you can change how many frames per second. If you're going to go for a real long drive, you don't want a long video, go to like 1 frame per second, and it's going to just compile all these little clips together, and it's kind of cool, but I really don't have time for that. Parking mode. All right, so we got parking mode. We got a bunch of different. It says to use collision detection in summer exposure environment. It says. All right, so we have collision detection or motion detection. You can use either or, but not both at the same time. So if you live in a high traffic area where there's a lot of motion, a lot of people are walking close to your car, you might not want to use motion detection. If you do, you might want to set it to low for the sensitivity, because that is going to start a recording every time it's going to detect some motion in either camera. All right. Collision detection, well, if you just want to have the parking mode only work if someone hits your car and it's going to jar it and it's going to start it, that's where you're going to adjust your sensitivity. Okay, then you have also different modes for to save space on your card. So you can go 15 frames per second at 1080 or at 720. If you want to save space there, you can go to 720. And then also you can go to a low frame rate mode. So you go 15 or you can go 10 frames per second, 5, 1. I like it at least 15. I like you get a better chance of getting a still grab if something really did happen. All right, moving along. Low light night vision parking mode. Pretty self-explanatory. If you live in a real dark area, puts into low light mode. GPS settings. You can have that speed unit. I have that set right now. We are in Canada, so kilometers per hour, but you can easily set it to miles per hour if you choose to. And if you want the GPS information, you can get that. Plus, you can get it stamped onto the video itself. Yeah, so that is what we have there for our recording setup. We're just going to go, and then next thing over, we have system setup. Language, English, Wi-Fi, 5G. This is equipped with 2.4 or 5G Wi-Fi. You can use the Vantrue app, and with that app, you can view and download clips as well. You can do all these type of settings that we're doing here, but with your phone instead. So if you don't want to use these buttons, you can just use your phone. For the app itself, for viewing clips, just like most apps, I always say with dash cameras, I know people really like them. Some people, hey, it has to have an app or else I don't want it. You know, I don't know, like even with 5G, it's going to take you, it's not super quick to download. If you want multiple clips that you want to download, remember, these are high resolution clips and you have 3 angles. So there is quite a bit of data being transferred. I just find it easier just to take the SD card out or just take the whole camera out and hook it to my computer so I have a bigger screen to work with. But the option is there for you. There is your voice control. There's your voice control content. Okay. Just right there, we can, things like turn on audio, turn off audio, turn on screen. You can do all those types of things just with your voice in different languages. Format SD card is right in that system setup area. And then a format reminder setup. You can have that turned off or on and how long. So I'm going to put it to here. Let's go 1 month. All right, so in 1 month, it's going to remind me to format my card. So how it works is your 3-minute loops will go into your normal clips. When that gets full, it will start overwriting the oldest ones, and it just keeps on going like that. Now, when you have events that you save, those go into the event folder. However, if you save too many of them, it'll only save up to, I believe, about 30% or so of that card. After that, anything over that, it will start overwriting those as well. So it's a good idea, once a month, do a little house cleaning. If there's anything that you really want on there, transfer it out onto your phone with the app or take it out, use your computer. All right, so then we have time and date. LCD auto off. If you want to turn that off by itself, you can do that. Device sound, the beeping, the warning tone, frequency 60 Hertz, we're in North America. And system info, certification info. System info is going to, if you have an issue, if you're talking with the support, they're going to ask you, what software version are you using for your cameras, and it's going to show you right there. And that's what you want to tell them. All right. Okay. Default settings, if you want to reset everything, right there. And that is it for the setup and how to operate this menu. So let's have a look at some of the footage that we have. We've been showing you some of it already, but one thing, and I've said this already, we have the Ioniq 5, which does not have a rear wiper. And it's winter time, there's snow on the ground in some of these shots here, and there's a lot of spray that comes up onto that rear window. And so if it doesn't look super clear, it is not fault of the camera. It's because the Ioniq 5 doesn't have a rear wiper, and the design just really, we love the vehicle. By the way, if you want to see a video and full review of the Ioniq 5, check out our videos there. But yeah, we just don't have a rear wiper, and really wish we did. But otherwise, I think the the camera, though, speaks for itself. I think the flares are quite controlled, even shooting right into the sun. Here we're stopped. Let's see, guess what? Can we see the license plate of the cars in front of us or behind us? Yeah, I think it's actually very, very good. Now, our final test for some people, especially if you're a ride-share driver, which a lot of you might be buying this because of that inside camera, is how good is the audio? Because you might want to hear the audio or record the audios in cabin, especially if there's some discrepancies happening between you and your client. All right, let's check out some of the interior footage right now. It is kind of dusk right now. The sun has gone down, so this is the kind of lighting you're going to get. However, you do have infrared LEDs in that in-cabin camera there, so that's going to really brighten things up when it's really dark at night, and it's going to give you that black and white look, but it's going to be clear though, and we'll show you a few shots of that. But what I want to show you also is the audio. So currently right now I have this microphone right here on the seatbelt, and that is going to that camera, which is my GoPro. So that is the GoPro audio, and now I'm going to switch to the E3 built-in audio there. After we go. All right. So, nice thing about having an electric car, instant torque, you can get out really quick. So anyways, this is now the audio that you're hearing from this camera itself, which is the Vantrue E3. What do you think? Obviously, it's a smaller microphone compared to a dedicated microphone, but I think it's quite adequate for sure. And now one thing that this also comes with, a little remote control here, as you can see here. I haven't stuck it to anything yet because I don't know where I want to put it, but and I don't really have a lot of use for it because I can reach the camera easily. But if you couldn't reach the camera easily, or if you wanted to save a video or turn off the audio, for instance, you could actually do it discreetly without anyone noticing. So you could put it maybe off to the side by your steering wheel if you want. So if I hit this button right now, there's two buttons. One small one at the top, and that's to turn the audio on or off. So maybe you don't like to have the audio on all the time. Well, you can hit that. I'm not going to do that right now because then my audio is going to be lost right now. And the other one is to save the event or lock the event. So if I hit this right now, you hear that? There's a little bit of a shutter sound. That's going to lock it down, and that is really valuable. Now, this is where I think this is very handy if you are a ride-share driver. I'm going to switch back to the audio of the GoPro just because it's a little clearer. It's a dedicated microphone. But if you are a ride-share driver, Uber, Lyft, a taxi driver, and you have this camera system, first of all, you're getting almost like a 360-degree coverage, so which is really good. You have your exterior, front and back, which are very wide angles of view, and you have your interior. And let's just say you are pulling up to pick up a fare. Well, before that person even gets into your vehicle, you could just go on your dash and just hit that save button, so you can lock that event in, or just take that picture. It's gonna lock that there, and okay, you never know. You may never use it, but at the end of the night, guess what? If something happened or you wanted to go back, you know every person that you picked up, even before they got into your vehicle, because you know what? You might actually get a better view of them, say from the front or the rear of the vehicle, than inside the cabin. And you can do it all without even touching the camera. So with that, talking about discreet, we have a flashing LED right now. You can turn that off. You can turn the screen off. You can have this thing so it just looks like a black box on your windshield. It doesn't even have any power lights on or anything. And yeah, that's all. The options are there. So lots of great options if you're a ride-share driver using this Vantrue E3. Okay, check this out. It is completely dark out right now. I'm very impressed with this sensor and what it looks like from this front camera in HD at nighttime. Yes, we do have headlights, a few street lights here, But yeah, it's looking at the screen, it looks brighter than it really is outside. It's dark out. And on the inside camera with those IR LEDs, they're doing a great job. Yes, it is black and white, but look how clear it is. There's very little light in here other than just what's coming off the dash itself. So night-wise, really good. Rear camera, well, right now there's no one behind us, so it's just pitch black. But here you might see a little bit there. Remember, once again, I just can't keep that rear window clean. The roads are wet with a lot of muck and salt, and it just sprays right up onto that rear window right away, so we're not getting a really clear view on there. But it's adequate. It is adequate, even with the dirty window. And this, by the way, is the audio straight from the E3. I do not have an external mic on for this portion of it. Okay, here is your night test with the audio from the Element 3 itself. It is pitch black outside. We just have our headlights only. You can see the tail lights of some cars in front of us. And behind, you might be able to see some of the cars behind us. There are no street lights. This is what it looks like with the IR LEDs. So the in-cabin camera, I'm looking at the screen right now and it looks pretty clear. I'm actually quite impressed. And the front camera itself, you know, it's pitch black right now, and I think the image is really, really good considering that it's completely dark right now. So yeah, that is your night test right there. So there you go, that is the Element 3 from Vantrue. What do you think of the footage? You had a look at it. And also, what do you think of the camera, the shape, the form factor, the usability? I think it's a very, very full-featured camera. I think the quality is very good. Even that rear camera is not bad, considering it's going through a whole bunch of dirt on that rear window. Remember, we don't have a rear wiper, and it's winter time with lots of muck on the road, so that's why it's not super clear in some of the shots. But that's no fault of the camera, that's this car. And by the way, if you want to see a full review of the Ioniq 5, check out our links and check out all our videos on our channel. Once again, we will leave a link in the video description. It is an affiliate link because the folks at Vantrue have given me a discount code to share with you. If you want to save some money, click the link down below. It doesn't cost you anything extra to use that link. In fact, it actually saves you money, and it does help the channel out so I can make more videos like this. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you on the next Everyday Review, hopefully not in your dash cam.